So much of things that we need to see about. Surely I do have to spell them out. Cause you know as well as I do, the only way is put in more effort and less play. Because now, more than ever, we must show discipline, tolerance, and production to build a strong and better nation. I say that is the main foundation. So come let us go hand in hand, because this is our land. Come my brother, come my sister, and let us build a nation together.
Come, my brother, come, my sister, and let us build Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique together. That's the call, to build, not to break down. I want to encourage those on Facebook and YouTube to please share the live. Sharing is caring. And I want to start off this morning by defining two terminologies, two things. I want to define corruption, and I want to define sovereign guarantee. So let me first start off with sovereign guarantee. To be a sovereign guarantor, you have to be a country. Mainly, you have to be a country. So a sovereign guarantee is a promise by a government to assume responsibility for a debt obligation in the event that the primary debtor defaults. So, the government of Grenada is a sovereign guarantor giving a sovereign guarantee to a bank that if the call center involving Keith Mitchell's cousin failed to pay the money back to government, or correction, to a bank that guarantees a loan, then the government and people of Grenada will pay. Simply put. So the government of Grenada is the sovereign guarantor and is given a sovereign guarantee, a promise by a government saying to the bank, if this company fails to pay, we will pay. What is corruption? Corruption is defined as the abuse of entrusted power for private gain. Corruption is defined as the abuse of entrusted power for private gain. So you hear the NNP over the last couple weeks talking about corruption because it is a conversation that I love to have. And I always put the NNP administration under the microscope because they think that we are stupid. They think that they're the smartest here in the state of Grenada because they've been in power for 23 years and they were voted back over and over and over again. They know how to do the thing to get back into power. But now you hear them in opposition or out of power talking about corruption. But we need to look at the NNP administration deeper. And I want to start off this conversation by again looking at the call center fiasco. Because I think that's the truest example of how corrupt the NNP administration was. Here you had a private company involving the cousin of Keith Claudius Mitchell. And Keith Claudius Mitchell was the Prime Minister of Grenada. So the NNP administration was in power. The NNP formed the government. This private company involving the cousin of Keith Claudius Mitchell ended up in financial problems. But it's a private company. It's private. It has nothing to do with government. But instead of this company going straight to the bank and ask for a loan and that kind of stuff to bail out, to help the company to get back on its feet, the company involving Keith Claudius Mitchell's cousin approached the Keith Mitchell-led administration, approached the government. So you have to see this as it is. This is the picture. Reflect on it for a moment. So they approached the Keith Mitchell-led administration, and the Keith Mitchell-led administration gave that call center company involving Keith Mitchell's cousin a, well, quote unquote, an investment, as they call it. $9 million worth of investment. Taxpayers' money. $9 million as an investment. And they said, we will get 40% back as a return on that investment. But they did not stop there. The company, after getting that $9 million as an investment, decided to approach a bank now. So instead of going to the bank first to get a loan and to get that kind of support, they came to government. And then, after getting that $9 million as an investment from government taxpayers' money, they approached a bank. And the bank now said to that company involving Keith Claudius Mitchell's cousin, well, we cannot give you that loan without having a sovereign guarantor, giving us a sovereign guarantee that if you fail to pay, the taxpayers of Grenada will pay it. I define for you what is a sovereign guarantee. A sovereign guarantee is a promise by a government to assume responsibility for the debt obligation in the event that the private debtor defaults. So if that company fails to pay, the government of Grenada will pay, because they assume responsibility for the debt obligation of that company in the event that they can't pay as the primary debtor. So $9 million, they got that from taxpayers' money, and they consider it to be quote unquote an investment. An additional $9 million, they got that from the bank, because the government of Grenada, the Keith Mitchell-led administration, signed on the dotted line saying, if this company fails to pay, we, the taxpayers of the state of Grenada, will pay. That's $18 million. They did not stop there. The company went bankrupt immediately. The company went bankrupt. 2 2s after that, the company went bankrupt. We lost all our money. But because they assume liability of that company, when government sold its shares in Cable and Wireless, the $4.5 million should have gone straight into the treasury. But that same company was owing Cable and Wireless. And the government agreed that Cable and Wireless will take that money at the time to compensate for the debt owed to them. Taxpayers' money. So you're talking about $22.5 million or so dollars. Taxpayers' money just vanished like that. No one went to jail. No one arrested. No one charged. Nothing like that. And Keith Claudius Mitchell, right? Keith Claudius Mitchell thereafter came publicly in the parliament because, you see, it was exposed. And the man came publicly and he said, well, this is what it is. And if you want to know, my family will pay it back. My family, right? My family member or whoever, you're going to get back the money. The company involving, correction, the company involving my family will pay it back. So listen to Keith Claudius Mitchell when he was confronted in the parliament.
I have a problem in the clandestine manner in how the government finance call center. Mr. Speaker, sir, fellow Grenadians, lend me your hands, please. The government of Grenada came right here and amended the Finance and Audit Act to enable government to guarantee loans for a company involving the Prime Minister relatives. And I'll say it again. The government of Grenada came here in Parliament, changed the law. When we got the Constitution, they put certain safeguards in the Constitution to avoid abuse. That was given to us. So we don't just do nothing. But we came here, Mr. Speaker, and what we did? Changed the law. There was a time when he used to come here and fling his arm, job for the boys, job for the boys, job for the boys. What is it now? Money for your family, money for your family. That's what it is here today. Absolutely nothing wrong. There are those who have millions in Swiss bank accounts, banks in the United States. If they want to help their family start a business, go into the bank like every other normal Grenadian citizen and stand the security for that person so they could get the loans, Mr. Speaker. Do not use government money in that kind of way. That is my problem with the center.
The member said that the government guarantee a loan to a project which members of the Prime Minister family was involved. I said, Mr. Speaker, and I need to repeat, I have no difficulty with that, and I am proud of the fact that members of my family, some members of them at least, are involved in a project that brings hundreds of jobs to rural people in the country, Mr. Speaker, so I need to make that as a fact. So I am proud of that, and I will repeat it in time in my presentation, Mr. Speaker. No problem at all. If the member have a problem, let him speak again about that.
If the government is laying out the cash, plus all the duty-free concessions, the other people don't have a dime. I'm saying to you, fellow Grenadians, I am not against the center. I am saying is the manner in which it was done. The other people, including the Prime Minister's relatives, is not at risk in this venture. You, the Grenadian people, who's at risk. It is your money that was given to them. That enterprise was to fail, Mr. Speaker. One of them, he don't even have the guts, Mr. Speaker, to put his name on the document.
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I really should be the Minister of Finance explaining this, Mr. Speaker. Really should be. But I think it's important that members should not be imputing that any company received a certain amount of money from government, Mr. Speaker, and by the way, the figure was over $9 million. And that government got 40% for $9 million investment. This is absolutely false, Mr. Speaker. The government has provided a guarantee for the $9 million. It did not give $9 million, a guarantee, Mr. Speaker, has been given, plus the government invested.
Right. So Keith Claudius Mitchell there speaking, and earlier was Michael Batiste. I mean, Michael Batiste has, well, I want to say regurgitated. All right, the guy vomited and he licked it up and he continued to do the same thing. Right now, I don't know what part of Keith Mitchell's body he is licking now. I don't know. I am not able to tell you. But this guy is a damn disgrace, Michael Batiste. But at the time, he was the opposition leader at the time. Keith Mitchell was prime minister. And Keith Mitchell there admitted, because, Keith Mitchell was strategic to say, well, a guarantee was given for $9 million and $9 million was an investment. That is how he coined it.
The figure was over $9 million. And that government got 40% for $9 million investment. This is absolutely false, Mr. Speaker. The government has provided a guarantee for the $9 million. It did not give $9 million, a guarantee, Mr. Speaker, has been given, plus the government invested $9 million, Mr. Speaker.
Right. So, you see, that is why I defined what is a sovereign guarantee. Because Keith Mitchell believes that he's smart, but this guy is a political fool, an idiot. You see, a guarantee, as I explained earlier, the definition, a sovereign guarantee is a promise by a government to assume responsibility for a debt obligation in the event that the primary debtor defaults, cannot pay. So, the government of Grenada gave the bank the assurance that if this company cannot pay, the taxpayers of Grenada will pay. Simply put, they assume responsibility for that debt in the event that the call center company, the primary debtor, defaults or cannot pay. So, what happened? The company couldn't pay. So the taxpayers had to pay. So it's another $9 million. And then he claimed that another $9 million was an investment where we will get dividend or returns on it. But the company went bankrupt as they claimed. So we lost another $9 million. So $18 million was lost in this call center company involving Keith Claudius Mitchell's cousin. And then the government of Grenada, the Keith Mitchell-led administration, sold the shares that government had in cable and wireless. And we, the taxpayers, were supposed to get $4.5 or so million to go into the treasury. But that $4.4 million or so went straight into paying the debts of that same company because they were owing cable and wireless for internet service and everything like that. So we lost $22.5 million or so in the call center fiasco involving Keith Claudius Mitchell's cousin. And Keith Claudius Mitchell was Prime Minister of the country. You want to talk? Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. So you hear those NNP jagabats talking about corruption and corruption and corruption. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation now. Case in point, I use an example here. And I am not the one to conclude that it's corruption. I want you to conclude what you believe it is. I explain this thing in simple terms. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to understand it. You don't need to be bright to understand what I just explained. There is no big words used here. It is simple. There was a call center company set up involving the cousin of Keith Claudius Mitchell. And Keith Claudius Mitchell was the Prime Minister of Grenada. The NNP was in charge. They formed the government. This private company fell into financial difficulties. They had financial problems. Instead of approaching a bank, they approached the government of Grenada. They approached the Keith Mitchell-led administration. And the Keith Mitchell-led administration gave to that company as quote-unquote an investment $9 million of taxpayers' dollars. $9 million. $9 million. Not $900, not $9,000, not $900,000. $9 million. Are you playing all you bad-minded and nasty with all yourself? You want to talk about corruption? Because you hear them these days, corruption and corruption and corruption and corruption. Huh? You hear them? And who about $100,000 and give me a damn break. Shut up! All you ain't know nothing yet. Let's talk millions. All you too damn dirty. Let's talk millions. You want to talk about corruption? Huh? You want to talk about corruption? Those NNP jagabats. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk. I am not saying that what I just explained and what took place was corruption. I am not a judge. I am not going to adjudicate on such matter. But I am reasoning with you to say to you, let's talk millions. Let's talk millions now. You want to talk? Come, let's talk. So that private call center company, private, nothing to do with government, involving the cousin of Keith Claudius Mitchell. I saw him on the TV, I think MTV, talking last night. This guy in shame. Keith Mitchell, what's wrong with you? You in shame, you in embarrassed, you shame plate brick. And that is why I'm saying to you, you know, some of these people, when they come in front of you, but again, he doesn't come in front of nobody, because them people in that constituency, they could care less. Even if he turn a crapo, they're still voting for him. Yeah. When they come in front of you, they say, mash, mash. Those political dogs, they have no shame. No shame. So here it is. I'm saying to you, you know, $9 million $9 million. Taxpayers' money. The Keith Mitchell-led administration gave $9 million to this call center company, a private company, involving Keith Claudius Mitchell's cousin. $9 million. Taxpayers' money. And the company getting that, they say, okay, let us now approach a bank. They want a loan now from a bank. So the bank demanded that there be a guarantor, giving a guarantee, a sovereign guarantee, that if this company cannot pay, the taxpayers of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique must pay. And again, the NNP administration, the Keith Mitchell-led administration, signed as a guarantor, giving a guarantee to that bank for another $9 million. $9 million. Not 9,000, not 900, not 900,000, $9 million. That's another 9 million, you know. So 9 and 9 is 18. 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, 6 million, 7 million, 8 million, 9, 10 million, 11 million, 30 million, 40, 11, 12 million, 13 million, 14 million, 15 million, 16 million, 17 million, $18 million. $18 million. The company eventually, as they claim, went bankrupt. We ain't get a black cent on that so-called investment of $9 million. They couldn't pay the bank. Who had to pay it? Taxpayers had to pay back the money. $18 million. Pop, that gone so. Well, NNP talk now. Talk, tell me, let's have a conversation. But you see, they bad-minded, they nasty, they wicked. Hold on. $4.5 or so million, you know. Well, we had shares in Cable and Wireless. Government had shares there. They invested in Cable and Wireless. So when you sell your shares, you're supposed to get money. Plenty money. You're supposed to get that. So the government of Grenada was supposed to get $4.5 or so million. So you could fix roads, you could fix schools, you could pay pension, you could invest in youth development, agriculture, healthcare, education, you know, tourism, and so on and so forth. That $4.5 or so million went straight into paying the debts of that same company because they owed Cable and Wireless. So you're talking about $22 million or so gone. 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, 6 million, 7 million, 8 million, 9 million, 10 million, 11 million, 12 million, 13 million, 14 million, 15 million, 16 million, 17 million, 18 million, 19 million, 20 million, 21 million, 22 million. God damn it! $22 million. But you want to talk about corruption? I'm not saying to you that it's corruption. You know. All I'm saying to you is that we, the taxpayers, lost $22.5 or so million. You heard me? Under the Keith Mitchell-led administration, and that's just one, you know. One, that company involving Keith Claudius Mitchell cousin. One. Oh, you want to talk about corruption? Let's talk. Come, let's talk. And then You had only recently, the shrimp farm fiasco. So if you have a pen and a paper, write $22.5 million. Write that down. We lost that money. In that call center company, right? So approximately $22.5 million. We lost that in a company involving Keith Claudius Mitchell's cousin, and Keith Claudius Mitchell was Prime Minister of Grenada then, and the NNP administration was in power. Write that down. The shrimp farm, they said to us, would create a lot of jobs for the people of St. Mark and more so the western side, St. John, St. Mark, St. Patrick. Shrimp, we're getting shrimp like. So it was a CBI program, or a part of. It was a CBI project, not program. It was a CBI project under this CBI program. So when you sell passports and citizenship and so on, the government of Grenada supposed to get money. All right? So these blue-eye white people, I think about 2 or 3 of them, they were able to con the NNP administration. They were able to trick them and fool them, because you see, the Keith Mitchell-led administration, the NNP administration, they had weakness of white men. They had weakness. They would tremble for white men. They would open their legs for white men easily. And that is what they did. They opened their legs for white men and they take them in. So those white men decided, well, we go bring the shrimp farm, man, we go. So they launched the thing, and the same Keith Claudius Mitchell opened his mouth and he this, and he confident that the thing will happen. And you know what them white men did? They collected 54-point-something million. $54.2 million. They collected, you know. And the treasury ain't get 1 cent. Just visualize for a moment. Just reflect for a moment. Just retrospect for a moment. $54.2 million. Let's talk millions. $54.2 million. Huh? You hear me? Pause for a moment and reflect. The school in St. David, the St. David Catholic Secondary School, to build that school, it will only cost $40.6 million. So that money could have constructed that school, and you have a lot of millions remaining. You hear me? So that's one. The St. Andrew Anglican Primary School cost $26.5 or so million. You could have easily constructed 2 of those schools, right? Easily, out of that money. The Grenada Christian Academy School cost $27.5 or so million. You could have easily constructed 2 of those schools. You hear me? You heard what I just said to you? $54.2 million just gone. Psh. No one went to jail. No one arrested. No one charged. Nothing. And then Keith Claudius Mitchell, that old political jagabat, came on air and said, well, we're investigating and we're asking this one and we asking that one to help us and regional days and international days. And you remember the shrimp farm? All you playing, all you forget. You remember the shrimp farm? $54.2 million. Let's talk millions. Let's talk millions. You know, there are some people who are not good with millions. I remember there was a guy who would work for you, and if you give him $5, that's $25. He glad, he happy. But if you give him $100, these big notes, he ain't want it. He believed that is not enough. All right? That's how the NNP operated all these years. So, so Keith Mitchell, that political jagabat, that old political derelict, right? The guy came on air and he said this.
Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell said the Zero Water Exchange Sustainable Organic Shrimp Farm project in St. Mark is under investigation. He made this disclosure in response to questions asked during Tuesday's post-cabinet briefing.
Well, we have been disappointed in this one. We are not satisfied. We have now investigating, and we are seeking support from our friends regionally, internationally, to deal with the proprietors of that particular project, because we know through the program they've collected significant sums of money and have not done in investment. And
dubbed the Zero Water Exchange Sustainable Organic Shrimp Farm, the project at Bookhead, St. Mark, was launched in 2017. The organization spearheading the initiative is GSA, the Grenada Sustainable Aquaculture, and Manfred Suffering is named as GSA's operational manager. The company indicated during the launch of the project that it planned to build and operate one complete and functioning barn by year-end 2017. Construction of additional barns was planned for 2018. Prime Minister Mitchell said that because of what transpired with
investigation, what? What became out of that? Nothing. Nothing. In fact, Al Jazeera came here and exposed them. You remember? Al Jazeera came here and exposed these people.
The sign was for a project in Grenada also linked to an ambassador role.
Yep. So GSA was the project, and then Acros, they were the people who were bringing the money in.
Yeah. What would have been here and what is here now is totally different.
The site was meant to be an organic shrimp farm, a government-approved project for foreigners to invest in and gain citizenship.
They spoke about a lot of jobs, for this area. All in all, I feel like a real disaster for the country. That didn't go on.
Carl David was working for the man who initiated the project, Leo Ford.
So we would have employed 100 folks in the area that had the highest unemployment rate on the island. So there had to be something going on the island where they needed a big rah-rah for the election, because the election was coming up.
Plans for the shrimp farm were announced by Grenada's Prime Minister.
I'd like to invite to the podium the Prime Minister of Grenada, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell.
I'm so proud of
watch that piece of thing now. Watch that piece of old thing. You don't see that? Watch that piece of thing. That old political jagabat. Watch that. You don't see that?
And look forward to it, to see this project take off in every sense.
PM, as we were walking out of that, I said, I'll build it, but I'm going to need your help for the approval process. And that's when the Prime Minister said, well, the election's coming up. We take campaign contributions, talk to my ministers.
How did you interpret that comment?
That means they wanted a lot of money to make everything go ahead quickly.
Soren Daoudi, a Swedish national, was the partner who raised the project funding. Both Leo Ford and a colleague say Daoudi told them he was offered an ambassador role.
Yeah, so the... oh, and that and them want to come back in power, and that and them want to come back in power in Grenada. We have to remind our people about these people, you know? Yes. So we lost $54.2 million. You know what that money could have do, boy? You know what that money could have do? Oh, Lord, help us. But Victoria always with some kind of scandal, some kind of fiasco. They were supposed to build and set up a chicken farm in St. Mark too, you know. Under the same Keith Mitchell administration. Big thing is, almost $18 or so million just melt under the NNP administration. Just melt. We did not get a chicken. We did not get an egg. We did not get a fall feet. We did not get chicken back, chicken wing, leg portion, thigh, breast. We didn't get anything. But I just melt under the NNP administration. Then I told you about Monk Hartman, Ekram J. Miller. The man came here, white man again. You know them white man does, you know, I want to use a word, you know. You understand? How them white man and them does take them NNP and them so easy. Huh? But not them want spending the money, you know. The taxpayers of the country. How them white man, them blue-eyed man and them able to take them NNP so easy? They just opening their leg and taxpayers' money just gone. Huh? So here it is. The white man. Oh, Lord. When I think about the thing, when I think about the thing and I see them NNP and them, I just feel to just, I just feel to just, what's wrong with them, boy? When you see them say mash, when they're talking about corruption, say mash, mash. Tell them mash. When they come on NDC and the corruption, tell them mash. Tell them Cam Jones say mash. Mash. Oh, you're ready yet. Mash. You want to talk corruption? Ekram J. Miller came to Grenada. Mount Hartman was one of the most fertile piece of land we ever had. You hear me? 280 something acres of land, you know. You think it's a little bit? A lot. The man come and he tricked the NNP administration, the Keith Mitchell administration, he tricked them. So he get the land for less than nothing. And then he said to them, well, I go build the famous Ritz-Carlton Hotel and, you know, big name, big name. Ritz-Carlton Hotel, come on. And the man didn't have money. The man broke like dog nose. The man don't have no money. The man tricked them people, boy. Yeah, the NNP administration, you know. So the NNP administration gave a bank in Belgium, the Frostis Bank of Belgium, a guarantee again, you know, saying to the Frostis Bank of Belgium, if this company, if this man fails to pay this money, the government and people of Grenada will pay. The taxpayers will pay it. Well, the man drew down $30-something million. The man drew down 30-something million. How much? It was what? 32, 33? Huh? The man drew down millions and millions. And the man go on a damn yacht. He and his wife and his children drinking champagne and drinking and having a merry time. You know what happened? When they do catch up with the man and they realize the man ain't building nothing. You know the man did not even erect one pillar in that place. Not even one telephone post. You know, you have some people have money to put up concrete pillars under the house. So they cut the telephone post and they put it down and they build. Not even a telephone post, a pole. The man don't erect nothing. No, the man don't erect nothing. And the man draw down millions of dollars. Taxpayers again had to pay, and they want to talk about corruption, and they want to come back in power. Mash! Tell them mash! Tell them Kem Jones say mash! Those political derelicts, those political jagabats, all you want to come back in power? Who all you think all you could fool? Them young people more smart than all you. We lost millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. We lost millions. You think it's thousands? Millions. You think hundreds of thousands? Millions of dollars. And not one block, not one pillar, not one piece of galvanized went up in the place down there, Oh, Lord. You want to talk corruption? You want to talk corruption? Let's talk it. This money could have gone towards building roads, building drains, building schools, building homes, building the concrete house that you want the government to build for everybody. When you open your mouth and say, well, why are you building boat house for them people? Build concrete. That money could have gone towards building concrete houses for the people. What's wrong with them? Well, you move there. Mash. Tell them Kem Jones say mash, dog. Mash. Move there. Move. All you want to come back way. Mash. Tell them Kem Jones said so. Let's go up to Livera. All you forget Livera? Again, a white man with blue eyes came and he tricked the NNP administration and he tricked the Keith Mitchell-led administration again. How did us fall for them white man so? Them blue-eye man and them. And you know them people in their money? No, they have money. They trick the Keith Mitchell-led administration to open up their leg and take it. But mind you, you meet some people, even if you do not need, they start to give you money and give you this. That's how the NNP operated, The NNP administration operated like that way. So here it is. The blue-eyed white man say, I go build brand new big golf course, water and recreational facility, big hotel. And so, the NNP administration chased them people and them in Livera. Remember the Kent estate and the this and the that and much estate about that? They chased them people and them without compensating them, It's only recently they were forced to give them a little thing. They chased them people. Some of them died, not even collecting anything. You know what happened? Them people and build one thing on the site at that time. Not even a brick was erected. Nothing. They do nothing there. They drew down $20-something million. They drew down $20-something million because the government of Grenada gave a guarantee with the International Bank of Miami. They gave the International Bank of Miami a guarantee that if this guy and his family ain't pay, the government and taxpayers of Grenada will pay $20-something million. $20-something million. Gone. And nobody went to jail. Nobody arrested. Nobody charged. What's wrong with all you? When they come in front of you, tell them mash. Say mash, dog. Mash. Tell them Kem Jones say mash, dog. Or you want to talk corruption? Let's talk corruption. Who the hell you all think all you could fool? And all you want to ride an Andy back and ride and that one back. When they come in front of you, tell them Kem Jones say mash, dog. Mash. Tell them Kem Jones said so. Because why? The evidence is clear. NNP should be the last. Those jagabats in NNP should be the last to talk about corruption. Tell them when they come in front of you, tell them Kem Jones say, mash, dog, mash. You want to talk corruption? Let's talk about the millions. Let's talk about the millions of dollars. Come, close it. Close the please. Close. Yes, I have a biscuit. Go ahead. I am saying close the door, please. Close the door. You hold on, I'll come and get the biscuit in a while. Close the door. When they come in front of you, tell them as I tell you, tell them mash. Because I just named some, I could give you a next 10 examples of how nasty these people were when they were in government. You think they love Grenada? You believe they love Grenada? What's wrong with all you? Love what? They didn't love Grenada. They love themselves and their family. They don't love this place. No, they pretend that they do. They're nasty. There's a scent. There's a pungent, they're nasty to the core. They ain't good. They bad-minded. When they come in front, tell them, Kim Jones say, mash. Mash, dog. All you could fool about corruption. You put some pee under the bed. Well, nowadays, you're in a bed. Right? You just, yeah, all right. Close the door, Zoe. Close the door immediately, please. Close it. Right. You put some stale pee under the bed, and when they come and you understand? Anyways, folks, I want to wish you all the best. Have a wonderful day. And I will be back with you tonight, God's willing, starting from 8 in the